Oh, it's been said a bard's life can often be a hard life, or hill and dale to rove and always move from town to town. And some folk have inquired if ever we grow tired of ranging all around the world and never settling down.
But one should be a little wary of remaining stationary, 'cause comfortable is lovely, but it's not the way we grow. When life starts to unravel, pick up your pack and travel. You'll find a strange serenity in places you don't know. Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-doo-da-terry-o-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. You've got no map for showing which direction you are going.
But why start on a journey if you know where it will end?
And once you recognize,
to anticipate surprise, you'll relish every twist and turn that lies around the bend. Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-doo-da-terry-o-dee-da-dee-da-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. La-da-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. La-da-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. The world has got its demons. There are many reasons why you'd find it harder to be brave than be afraid. But every life could use some danger. Every friend was once a stranger. Ships are safe in harbor, but that's not why ships are made.
Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-doo-da-terry-o-dee-da-dee. A fwit-da-dee-da-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Adventures waiting further down the road. Let's go! Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. La-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Hello, friends. Good morning-ish. Morninger. Welcome to, I was going to say Gothic Horror Gaming. Welcome to Flash Phantasmagoria. You'll notice that this morning I elected not to play the Gothic Horror thing that I usually do. And I have very particular, okay, and then I stop the track from Two Bard Party and I immediately start this track for Gothic Horror. And I elected not to today because my husband said something very fun to me last night, talking about the show and saying that, and we're writing fantasy and horror fiction. And I was like, you know what? Fantasy is a good attempt. Let's try that today. Before we get to that, let me go into the things and show you what I got. We want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors. Like Ren Adventures, renadventures.com. They have Destination D&D in Muncaster Castle. Somebody was talking about yesterday, I think, of like, is this an AI generated castle? And I'm pretty sure that is actually Muncaster Castle and that it is a real castle. And the whole point of doing Ren Adventures is that you get to do cool things like play D&D inside of a real castle. And my husband Tom is going to be there along with Ryan Gelodi, who is a frequent person who appears on this channel. They are both DMs for the upcoming June 2nd through 7th tour in Muncaster, as well as our very own Paolo Garbanzo, who will be there as well. So that's super cool. You should definitely check it out, renadventures.com. And I know that there's still space left at the moment. So definitely go check that out and register when you can. Also, the earlier you can get flights for stuff like that, the less expensive it tends to be. We also want to thank our friends at 3D2U, 3D2U.org. O-R-G. You can also follow them on Facebook and Instagram. They do a lot of 3D printing with, they mostly do wood, but I know that Amy has been experimenting with doing dragons in resin. So she's designing and creating little dragon figurines that are articulated so you can move them and make them do things. So definitely check them out, 3d2u.org for cool inspiration. Also, I have a book. It's called Dare by Melissa Lee, a collection of short fiction and poetry. It's my first collection. Hopefully this year I'm going to create another collection and maybe you'll kind of help me create it. But that is available on Amazon, and it is also available on Audible if you want any, if you like to listen to books rather than reading them. Both versions are totally valid. So what is Phantasmagoria? Phantasmagoria is defined as a sequence of real or imaginary images like those seen in a dream. And what we are aiming to do is create flash fiction. So that is usually 300 words or less of any kind of fiction. I'm going to respond, and I have this. This is my cool thing that I'm bringing out today. Because in the past, I usually do, I usually bring out a piece of paper. I am bringing out my fun keyboard today, which makes all kinds of clacky fun noises. So I'm going to respond real quick to the comments in our YouTube live stream. It makes the clacky noises. I love it. So this is our opportunity to have a ritual of creating something short, because we can take 5 minutes and record and create something that is the basis for a beginning of something, or it could be an entire piece. Flash fiction is designed to be about 300 words, and that's because people can read that in a moment. You have a break at your work. You have you've run into the bathroom to avoid your children for a hot second. I'm getting used to that. You want to look at something real quick. You know, this is the same as like writing an article for like BuzzFeed or something. It's a quick creative piece that you can indulge in for 5 minutes to read. And also, we are indulging in creating today. So even if you don't have 30 minutes to do the whole thing, you can have 5 minutes to create for yourself. And that's the goal, is to take a little bit of time and make something fun. So today we are doing fantasy related stuff, and I'm going to need some help in the comments of things that you guys might want to do. Also, I'm going to be sharing different music than I usually do. Most of the time I'm going with 9 Inch Nails. They have a Creative Commons Share Alike 4.0 international license, specifically for an album called Ghosts. There are, I think, 6 different albums, but the whole point of that was to create music that could be shared on streaming platforms like this. Today we're doing a little bit different. I have to share my screen. Let me find this. Yes. Share screen. Sharing this. Also share audio. Perfect. This is from a group, The Relaxed Movement, and it is lo-fi chill beats. We are definitely crediting, and I will put their info into the comments. Music provided by. Oop, there we go. Music provided by The Relaxed Movement. Boop. There it is in the comments. So we're doing a little bit different music today, and that is because we're doing a little bit different of a genre. So I think doing some kind of fantasy thing would be really interesting. First, I'm going to start by lighting my candle to set my intention of creating for a moment. So I have this candle. It says Pisces on the front. I got it at Target. Use whatever you want. The whole point is just to, by lighting this candle or by pulling out your pens to draw, or by sitting at a desk or a particular location, you are setting the intention of, now is my time to stop doing other things and to create. Let me take a drink of water too. I have a giant water bottle with the Jersey Devil on it. And I also have coffee, because every chaotic bisexual needs at least 2 beverages. Anyway, fantasy. That's what I want to create today. For those of you watching the replay, started at 12 minutes. Fantasy. So I think I want to create something about elves. Whatever your interpretation is of elves, they could be the, Tolkien-esque, tall, willowy, beautiful. They could be the D&D versions of elves. There's several different versions of elves, like dark elves or wood elves, or the Sylvan. I think those are wood elves. And any number of versions of elves that you want to think about. Elves is what we're going with. And now I need a location. The goal here is to create something a little bit unusual. So what is an interesting location? If you are watching right now, what is an interesting location that we could put elves into? Could be a forest. That's normal though. Could be a river. Rivers happen in forests. Could be a boat. Maybe like an ocean liner kind of situation. You know what? Maybe that. Unless someone else has something else in the comments that you would like to share, I might go with ocean liner. Ooh, Cara Chapel says, a spring like Shannon Pot in Ireland, where a large stream or river suddenly rises to the surface. Oh, that's neat. Okay. I hadn't thought of that. I like that. Okay. We'll go with a spring. So a spontaneous spring. Our location is somewhere. There is a spontaneous spring, and this story will involve elves in some regard. So a spontaneous spring. Very cool. All right. So we have elves. We have a spontaneous spring. And now we need an object. Any kind of object. I like general fantasy things, so we could go with something simple like a sword or a bow and arrow or a dagger. Or we could go with things that are completely unconventional, which is always my preference. I like doing weird stuff. So it could be an object, not a live object, because I was like, a puppy. And I was like, no. We don't want to open the door of, that's what Gothic horror is for. Terrible things that happen to lovely things. So let's go with an object. Be like, yeah, let's not drown a puppy. Right. Cara Chapel. Absolutely. How How about like an unusual piece of jewelry? If someone wants to pick out a specific thing, go for it. But like it could be an heirloom ring. It could be I'm wearing a cool necklace. I usually tuck it into my shirt at this point because my daughter is at the stage where she likes to grab. So it could be a bracelet. You know what? Let's go with like a bracelet. Let's go with a bracelet because how many fantasy things have you read that were like, oh, I see this like magic ring or this heirloom crown. No one ever talks about a bracelet. Let's go with like a bracelet, a bangle, some kind of bracelet. Okay, so those are our three things. We have elves, your interpretation of whatever elves are. We have a spontaneous spring, so a spring that comes up from the ground. It suddenly rises to the surface. I love that definition, Kara. It suddenly rises to the surface. So a spring you weren't expecting. And we'll go with a bracelet. The bracelet has some kind of significance in the story. It does not matter how. You can do that however you want. But the bracelet has some kind of significance in the story. Boop. All right. So I am sharing this lo-fi chill beats. Let me go back up to the cool thing. There it is. And I will set a timer for 5 minutes. I'm also going to mute myself because clacky clacky is really fun for me. I love clacky clacky in terms of a love my clacky keyboard. In terms of a sound, that's aesthetically pleasing to me, but it could be very annoying for you at home. So I'm going to mute myself here in a second. But the music should still play through. Again, this is by the Relaxed Movement. Boop. You can check it out at The Relaxed Movement by Henry Keat. All rights reserved. So this is crediting that particular artist, and we're going to do 5 minutes here. Let me set a thing for 5 minutes. Come on. Dang thing. Well, let me pull up my 5-minute timer. Okay, I have 5 minutes on my timer. And this time, because I like the clacky clacky noises, I'm going to write my stuff on a document that I have pulled up called Flash Fiction 2024, 100-word stories 2024. So I have that ready to go. We have 5 minutes on our clock. I'm going to mute myself here in a second, and we're going to play the lo-fi chill beats of the Relaxed Movement. Here we go. Five minutes, Fred. Let's do something cool. See you on the other. All right, friends, wrap up whatever it is that you're creating. We hit our 5-minute mark. I found that music very interesting, a little bit, certainly relaxed for sure, a little bit different than usual. So check them out, the relaxed movement. Boop, we are back. I will share my screen. Fun thing. Sometimes when you sit down with the idea of creating something, you might not like what you create. That's totally valid. The point is to practice. So, what I have created today, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of, but let's see. Window. See if I can get this to work. Oh, I have to change my settings. Whatever. Anyway, I will read it to you. I personally don't like it all that much. Ooh, but here we go. Those of you who have created something today or create this in a replay later on, feel free to post it in our Discord. So Nat21 does have a Discord, and there is a specific tab that is Flash Phantasmagoria. And the nice thing about being able to type this versus I usually like to handwrite. You have a lot of paper off to the side. Goodness. I have a lot of paper off to the side because I like to handwrite things, especially like poems. But in this case, I can just upload it right into the Discord if I want to. So let's read what I created today. Again, which I'm not thrilled about, but I did something, and there's at least one line in here that I really like. So our prompt was elves, a spontaneous stream, and a bracelet. So here's what I got. The elves didn't like it here, this wild place overgrown with trees, but their water source had dried up and desperate times required a new water source. The stream nearest their village was a spontaneous creation. It burbled up from the ground like a secret, whispering life to the deep shadows. It was Genevieve's task to collect water today and take some back to the village. She'd spend the better part of the day gathering it and dropping it at the dried-out community basin. She was prepared for the task, though it was exhausting. She was not prepared for discovering the bracelet dropped casually by the side of the spring. It glittered in the low light, sparkling as if lit from within. Genevieve examined the bangle carefully. There were no jewels on it, no gaudy decorations, a simple golden bracelet, yet it flashed in the dim light as a lighthouse to lost sailors. There are 2 lines I like in this. That last one, a simple golden bracelet, yet it flashed in the dim light as a lighthouse to lost sailors. That was a cool image. And earlier on, it burbled up from the ground like a secret, whispering life to the deep shadows. Those are things I can work with. And that's the cool part, is that as you create, even if you hate absolutely everything about it, and you can totally erase stuff, there's no rules to creativity. Do what you want. But sometimes you stumble upon an idea that's actually interesting. And that idea of a spring whispering secrets, I think, is an interesting image and something I could definitely expand on. So I'll keep that in mind for the future, and I will post this in Discord here in a little bit. But thank you. Thank you for taking the time to create with me today, and taking the time for yourself to create something. Even though it's only a couple of minutes, I think that it's worth the time to spend time with yourself. Let me do a quick name check on everything that we are sponsored by. This is Nat21 Adventures, renadventures.com. You can find information about them on their website, renadventures.com. They have a tour for playing D&D in a castle. That's coming up in June of this year. Also, we'd like to thank our friends 3D2U. They create some really cool gaming supplies. You can check them out, 3d2u.org. I have a book. It's on Amazon. It's called Dare by Melissa Lee. You can look that up either on Amazon itself or on, Audible. My husband narrates it on Audible. Yeah, and this has been a production of Nat 21 Adventures. Thank you again to The Relaxed Movement for having our music today. You can check them out on YouTube, The Relaxed Movement, all one word. Yeah, thanks for creating with me today, and I will see you guys soon. Have a good rest of your day.